So next, we will continue with our special colloquium for this afternoon. While the stage is being prepared, please allow me to offer a brief reflection. Throughout today's conversations, we have heard a recurring theme that progress and compassion are not opposing forces. In fact, they depend on one another. Technology may expand what is possible, but human values determine what is truly meaningful and good for society. As we move deeper into discussions on innovation, industry, and sustainability, this colloquium invites us to pause and look at the broader landscape. What does it mean to innovate responsibly? How do we ensure that new technologies enhance well-being rather than deepen inequality? And how can we encourage collaboration across sectors that often operate at different speeds, rhythms, and priorities? These are challenging questions, but they are also encouraging ones because they show that we not only care about the future itself, but also the direction in which the future holds. Let's now introduce our host for this special colloquium, Professor John Leung, Associate Vice President of Knowledge Exchange at HSU, which focuses on applying academic research to real-world community and industry challenges. Professor Leung?
So it's already 3 o'clock afternoon. Time for high tea, right? Should we have a high tea? Well, we are going to have a high tea after this panel discussion. I was listening the whole day for all these great speeches and also panel discussion. And one word that always comes to my mind, why? Why technology? This is something starting from President Simon Ho, he asked, why, and that's how we have to consider. And after listening to Chris' speech and Professor Her's speech, all of a sudden I come to my mind is a TV series, Star Trek. I don't know whether you've seen this TV series before. Anybody who has seen this before? Star Trek. Not too many. Okay, I assume that you like it, I assume you like it. I was a kid. No, I was not a kid. I was a teenager when I watched that TV series. And I still remember. It's talking about the mission of the spaceship is to explore new life, new culture. And also, they're boldly going to a place that, all the places that a human being has never been there before. So that time I was so fascinated. Wow, explore new culture, new world, wow, new civilization. But after listening to all the speeches today, I asked myself, why? Why they are doing that? Why they are doing that? But very fortunately, in the second series of Star Trek, they changed the script a little bit. They said, they go to the places where human beings have never been there before because they want to make more inclusive culture. That makes sense. They're not there to explore new life, new civilization. They want to include all this. Inclusive. That's a different value. That's a different purpose, all right? So you may ask, John, why you start with this story? The reason why I start with stories is because I want to start a question to ask my heavy speakers next to me. When we are talking about why, when we are talking about, of course, the answer is goodness, right? For the sake of goodness. So can you share a little bit more your insight in a very couple of statements? What exactly in your mind is goodness, and what exactly you want to drive at? Chris, I tell you what, I in the last 20 years, I've been in Berkeley every year, annually, because of my EMBA students. Because I have to lead the EMBA students to UC Berkeley to learn about innovation and also some other latest technologies. And I know there's a graduate here. There. He's a UC Berkeley graduate. He's been your innovative lab before, visiting before. Okay, but anyway, good question. What is goodness in your mind?
So I think one of the things that both drives innovation and goodness and is still uniquely human in this age of AI is that spirit of creativity. I think that's why, at the end of the day, I'm interested in it. I'm not by heart a technologist. If you're, again, going to ask me what's interesting about technology in and of itself, not that much, honestly. What's interesting about it is, first of all, the creativity that people put into it. That's really the spirit that makes it interesting. And second, as I mentioned in my talk earlier, also the good, the value that can come out of it. And again, it doesn't always play out. We've heard several times the example, Dr. Her just spoke about it, of social media, again, a case where we did not consider the externalities and saw some really negative results. But at the end of the day, there are many great life-saving, world-changing innovations. Again, we saw some for crisis management just here in this speech, and that creativity behind them and getting them into people's hands to use for good purposes, that's really what I find interesting about the technology and innovation purpose.
So yeah, talk about like innovation for good purpose, for humanity, for human beings. That's what you want to drive at, right? Okay, very good. How about Professor Her?
Yeah. Because I studied the cultural goodness for years, so I do have a very sort of not so good definition, but I do have my own definition of goodness based on Chinese tradition. In Chinese tradition, the goodness called Shan. Shan is Shan. You can see the Chinese the character is like a ship, and every people have a piece of ship that's called Shan, which means share. Which means benefit all, which means altruism. So for me, the definition of goodness is altruism and harmony, and then common good. So I don't agree the fundamentalist or absolutism, because absolutism is dangerous, to annihilate the others, to really expel the others or discredit the others. So for the goodness definition, mean you have to provide benefit to all, altruism, and then you have to harmony, collaborate with each other, harmonize between human, harmonize within the human and nature, harmonize within races, religion, nationality, and also rich and poor. So if the technology comply with goodness, it must be good motivation, which is the motivation will be altruism. How my invention is going to benefit all human beings. As I just say, not based on curiosity, not driven by greed or desire, not driven by personal interest, want to get wealth. So far, even the outer space exploration is based on mainly industrial interest instead of human interest. So the motivation must be altruism, and the mean must be harmony, which means partnership, which means collaboration, like open innovation, right? Emphasize on partnership, innovation, co-creation, etc., and then reach the common good, which means agree, but support or recognize different value. And so this is an important virtue of humankind. So I have a chance to talk to the member of a Club of Rome, which also emphasizes new humanity. What is new humanity? It's not only egocentrism, but for the common good. So the motivation must be altruism, the mean must be harmony, and the purpose must reach the common good. So by these three essential values, I think we are going to create a new ideology of technology. But in the past, unfortunately, we believe that technology is neutral. It's common. you know. So no matter it's good or bad, it's neutral. So I think this is stereotyping because nothing is neutral. If everyone here know the quantum physics, the particle being observed or non-observed have a different phenomena because everything determined by our human observation capability. So I think everything is quite subjective. So if our mind is with goodness, all the creation will be good. So that's my definition of goodness and how you relate to technology development.
Wow. Oh, okay, that's very good. Actually, you're talking about three different main points: sharing, harmony, and also inclusive in a sense, right? Because you want to have everybody there. But one thing that you mentioned very interestingly, you just mentioned like technology is not neutral, or it can be neutral, but we can make it not that neutral. It all depends on our own mindset and our own value system, right?
But just I was journalist, and Mr. Wen先生 also journalist. Journalists highly emphasized by scientific development in the 19th century. In the late 19th century, journalists they believe what they cover, what they told, what the story they told are genuine, a scientific reality, which is nonsense, because every story that reporter produce is quite subjective. The topic you choose, the people you interview, the article you wrote, the newsreel you produce, all subjective. So there's no objective things, even in the scientific field. It's all determined by human capability, human value system, and human societal circumstances. So I believe that put science as a neutral is another collective stereotyping of human philosophy.
Right.
So we have to reflect that technology also quite subjective and can be toward goodness by our own choice.
That's true. So Chris, you got any ideas that you want to supplement regarding about whether technology is neutral or not?
Yeah, that is a very tough question. I mean, I agree with Dr. Her. Essentially, at the end of the day, technology is a human creation, and what we put into it is part of what comes out there, right? And so, we definitely have all seen examples historically or in our lives where a technology has clearly been created with some ill intent, malware for software, for example. And so to say that that technology is neutral is right there a bit of a falsehood. You can't say that a technology that was specifically created is therefore neutral. But again, that said, I think one of the most challenging things is what I mentioned before, that we just ultimately don't know how the technology that we develop are used. Despite, even if we have the best intentions, some of our users may not share those. And so it really is that relationship between both the creators of the technology and the users of the technology that at the end of the day creates the value both for bad or good. And so again, you need the people to have the good hearts, the good values on both sides of that equation.
Well, that's very good, Chris. Actually, I remember when I was an undergraduate student, I always talk about my young days because I'm getting too old now. I was chemistry and mathematics major, and my professors always told me the same thing. No, it's not neutral. When you are talking about how come you got that idea comes from quite likely your professors, your surroundings, your research ideas, all right? And the application, now we are talking about technology. Again, it depends on your background, on what you have encountered, what you have experiences, because those experiences are the drive that drives you to think about what should be applied. Like I would never think about how to apply technology in a farm area because I grew up in Hong Kong. It's a city. So I always think about, oh, maybe I can make use of the latest technology to build the highest building, right? I never think about how can I manage an organic farm or something like that. I mean, quite likely it's like that. So in a sense, it related to our past experience, our characters, and our education. And the reason why I say so is because now, of course, the second question I want to ask is, yeah, we are to a certain extent biased. And I always told my students, like, I don't care about AI, but an AI without conscience, AI with wrong ethical value, that I care about, because then they will start to do something harmful to human beings, right? So the second question I want to ask is, you both actually, I mean, professors, educationists. I was once professor and educationist too. What insights or what ideas do you think that you would like to share with our audience, how education can play a role in promoting technology for goodness? Yeah, and, actually, Chris, you may start first.
Sure. Well, so first of all, I know this may be a little bit out of fashion, but I still do firmly believe in the value of a liberal arts education.
That's what I want you to say.
Good.
I tell you why later.
I mean, I studied history as an undergraduate. I did not start my career in technology. And when I did move into technology and business, I still find the lesson that I learned as an undergraduate studying history are ultimately the ones that are foundational for how I think about it. The example of colonialism, right, in the space race, that is hopefully a lesson that anybody who studied history immediately thought of when they heard that, I want to be like Columbus, right? So if you don't have that grounding in the arts, in the humanities, in the social sciences, as well as in business and technology, you're just going to miss a lot of those contexts. So, yeah, so that definitely is one thing. I think the other thing, again, that we don't emphasize enough, particularly in business education, again, is that creativity, that artistic aspect. And so one of the things that I've really liked seeing in my current role is that we do have some faculty, some partners who really are interested in that aspect. Can we bring the arts into business so that the leaders do develop that appreciation for that creativity, for how it touches the soul as they go about doing their business. So I think those are a few areas where education can play a strong role.
Very good. Actually, the reason why I ask is because our university, Hang Seng University of Hong Kong, we always claim, we treasure both professionalism plus liberal arts, because we know more or less like professionalism is your technology, but liberal arts is your goodness. That's the part that really we focus very much on. And that's why, and Julian's there, he's the director of the Center for Management as a Liberal Arts. She's doing what exactly what you just want to provoke, right? So later on, when we have trainings, you talk to Julia, and then Julia, will you stand up so that people know that this young lady, this lady. Okay, and Professor, please.
Yeah, in the ancient Greek, they believe that living gods is the ultimate contest for the human being. They cannot think of the society without gods. So here comes the Socrates say, hey, the gods is not our genuine contest. You have to very much dialectic thinking. You have a rationality. So rationalism becomes the utmost for the Greek, and also pretty much dominance of the Western civilizations. So is Confucianism. He say the heaven is not a God. The heaven is a Tao, is a way, is a truth. So, but from days on, we believe that science is the ultimate contest for human being. You cannot think of a life without science, and they believe science is neutral. So that is another, I think, it's a myth for human being. So I think we face a new era of a human enlightenment. We have to reflect that science is not only ultimate context for human life. Science is one of the elements of human life. And we concern the human life is not inevitable to be very subjective. So this is very difficult to remove the concept that science is neutral. The science is outermost. The science can solve all the human problems. This is actually is a myth. It's not really, genuine. So, Malonate is saying that philosophy has no space for this dialogue. When you talk about technology, when you attend the forum, everything is about technology, less on philosophical thinking. But BF is different, right? BF always include philosophical dialogue and debating, which is good. So I think we got to create something new, form of philosophy, a new form of civilization that can combine with those kind of scientific methods, as well as the value system altogether. We have to bring the value system back to scientific world. That's crucial, and that's difficult. So I think we face a new era of enlightenment. You can see the human history. I think Professor Sun is a professional in the history, in all the human history. You can see the different stage of human civilization. They face different challenges. They have different enlightenment, perspective and a different form of a civilization. You must, co-create it. So that's why I feel that it's about time to emphasize goodness. So it's been combined motivation, meaning, and purpose all together.
That's actually when Professor was talking about his ideas, that reminds me of once. It was like many years ago. Harvard professor, he came to us and he said, "Do you guys know what is Harvard education?" Of course, it's difficult to define it. But then he started to talk about in Harvard there are at least 250 different kinds of labs, scientific labs, humanities labs, and whatever. These labs, he may not agree. And some of them, he couldn't even understand why it exists. But the Harvard education is because of that. You learn from different perspectives. You can bring into different perspectives. Science integrated with humanities into different areas. And that's Harvard education. And that reminds me what Professor has just mentioned, bring the value system into the technology. I think, one thing is which I believe, I personally believe is because I was educated in the States, I have been trained in a liberal arts environment before, and even I was a chemistry and mathematics major, so that time I hate all those philosophy, sociology, social science. I hate that because I thought I was not supposed to learn about it, but actually, that really changed my life.
Well, let me add one more case. We said truth, good, and beauty should be balanced. Now we too emphasize on truth, especially scientific truth, especially instrumental truth, like a social media, which is good, which is a new invention, which is a quite scientific instrument for people to communicate. But it's good? Well, it depends. And the website or social media create a new word. Is that beauty? Well, it depends. So we too much emphasize on truth, on scientific reality, on scientific instrument. But let's concern how likely it's going to benefit all, or how likely to create a well-being and beautiful life for human being. So we live in this world. AI is another instrumental, development. It's genuine, it's true, but it's good. We don't know. Will it create a beautiful life? Well, it depends. Still, this pattern repeat again. We never can get out of that kind of a myth. Emphasize truth, but does know whether it will good to all. Does not know whether it will create a beautiful life to all. That's our problem.
Chris?
Yes, again, I agree with that completely. I think, especially in Silicon Valley, we have a tendency to be very big technology optimists, right? That technology is going to solve all of humanity's problems. But again, bringing that historical view into it, that has never been the case and probably never will be the case. It's just not something that technology can do. It can't make human beings better or happier in most respects at the end of the day. So I don't want to dismiss the impact of it. Obviously, it has made our lives better. It's cured diseases. It's prolonged our lifespans. It has done many good things. But if we're really looking at it to give us values or happiness in and of itself, I think we're going to be perpetually disappointed.
Yeah, that's more important than just look at technologies, but you have to look at the related subjects that people. I remember a couple of days ago, this is kind of interesting. Yeah, somebody came to me and he said, "John, if I ask you to develop a school of STEM, will you do it?" I say, no. STEM is out of date. He said, what do you mean? Oh, I know. You mean STEM. That is say STEM add the arts inside. I say, no. I want to develop if you really want me to develop a school, I will develop a stream. Our religious. Now, I'm not talking about, I told the guy, I'm not talking about exactly religious. I'm talking about just like what Professor Her mentioned, seeking for truth. All the students, they learn about STEM, so what? They know science, technology, mathematics, so what? Well, they have to learn about liberal arts, so we have to learn about STEM. But ultimately, he got to have the passion to search for truth, to seek for truth. That's what both of you has mentioned before, right? So I say, if you ask me to develop a school, I will make it a school of STREAM, STREAM together, so that my students, they can know exactly what technology for goodness is. No, that's how I mentioned, yeah.
And still, our education emphasizes on knowledge, learning, instead of virtue,
learning, right?
Not a virtue training. We don't train our spirit. We don't train their virtue. We train them to have more knowledge, to become a very, very intelligent sort of, not selfish but egocentrism, right? Everything is about myself, my success, my knowledge, my feeling, and so if we want to talk about how education can support goodness in technology, for instance, that economics. We are in the economics course. We're talking about the efficiency. What kind of business model that can support businessmen to earn more money, can support the society to have a better economy outcome. But the virtue and ethical issue are less likely to be emphasized, right? So when I emphasize or propose economic goodness, they feel odd. What is that? We don't talk about goodness in the economy, right? So it's also influenced by scientific perspective. Even economy is a science. That, as I say the joke, a centuries ago, journalists believe they are scientists. Everything they report, a journey, a truth, undeniable. It's very odd. So still, education system, we had to bring the virtue and the value system back into the education system. Not only in technological side, but on every field of education, we should adopt that. So, two things for the Western education: knowledge and dialectic thinking. But I want to add a compassion. Compassion education.
Compassion education.
Not only knowledge, not only dialectic thinking, but also compassion capability.
Compassion. Right. So, okay. Now, before I start this panel, actually, I talked to Professor Her. I say, what's the theme of this panel? And the answer is very interesting. He said, general. General. I say, what's general? That is to say, anything you believe that is important, that can really captivate the attention of the audience, that they want to know. This is the section for. So that's why I would like to open up our panel to all our audience here. I know we got very great professors here. Maybe they have more things to add or some comments, feedback, or question to ask, right? Okay. May I ask the audience to ask questions? Professor?
Yeah, so thank you. Great discussions and many great ideas. So I have a question about innovation in the social realm. You know, the model that you have of business, and then you touched, this is for Chris, you touched on some of the social initiatives. But, you know, I work in the, you know, area of religious freedom, human rights, things like that. I mean, do you have any good models of innovation, programs that are going on, success stories of social innovation when it comes to, you know, the kinds of human rights, the kinds of ways of ordering relationships among people, societies that bring peace, and bringing people together as opposed to, you know, either siloing them, separating them, or driving them apart?
It's a great question, and I feel a little bit bad in saying this, but I think what I've seen is that the process has been valuable, but the outcomes haven't always been measurable. So I do firmly believe that when we put our students together to work on a social project, that they are having some of that education of character that Dr. Her mentioned, that they are learning how to be more compassionate, more value-driven people. However, when, at least again, within the very limited context of the projects that we've worked on, when you've looked at the long-term impact, I think what often happens is that it's very hard to measure and it's very hard to sustain when you're talking about, you know, students working for one semester or for 1 year and then graduating or going on to new things. That commitment to a really long-term solution is hard, and it takes more than, you know, students working on a project for a year, for example. So the character building, yes, I think that's a big success. The actual measurable outcomes, I think that's more of an open question and takes a much longer term approach.
Okay. Any further question? Here.
Thank you so much for the discussion. My question is related to the alignment of the different values from what we are learned from the university and how it's applied in the real life. So how do you think about in terms of the applications of what the panelists, what you all have covered? Because the reason that I brought about the application part is that it seems that there are part of people who feel like the current way of working might be siloing some group of people, and they kind of not eager or willing to join the current way of practicing, while maybe in different occasions people are preaching certain kinds of values that are hard to be applied. So how do you connect these two kinds of values and systems and to apply it in real life? That's the question. Thank you.
Yeah, all I'm saying, propose, mainly come from Tzu Chi experiences. When I say altruism, it's not abstract to me because I devoted to Tzu Chi for more than 24 years. I've been seeing so many entrepreneurs doing the altruistic action, and change the mentality. I've been seeing the elementary school, high school in Tzu Chi. They serve with the poor people, they serve with the senior, they serve in the hospital. It's quite common in Tzu Chi education system. In Tzu Chi University, we have a 46 club that are considered charitable community. They serve to different people who are in need. 46 club in Tzu Chi University are all based on charity. So from a very young age, they learn how to give. They learn how to respect. They go to the orphan house, and there's a lot of bad smell. But no children in Tzu Chi Elementary School say, hey, it's stingy. No one say that. No one, oh, it smell not good. No one dare say that because they've been educated to respect those disadvantaged children. So this is a compassion education. I've been see that, and I've been really work with that together to spread out the compassion education in Tzu Chi system and maybe elsewhere. So this is called applied altruism. For my understanding, you also call applied Buddhism. Buddhism is not about self-meditation, not seeking self-enlightenment, but serving to others, provide compassion to the others. So now we are not really in the age of quite, as Marcuse say, one-dimensional people. Our education system is like an industrial. You work in a small part in your lifetime. You work in small field in your lifetime to be an academic scholar. We are not holistic. We don't do the horizontal integration. We don't cross field, right? You work in a small field. Only few people in the world know your profession. It's like industrialized. We working for a small part in our lifetime. So it's a quite so-called dimensional people. But we are not dimensional people. We have multiple and diverse capability to work into different fields. So I think this kind of education system need to be redesigned and reflect how to bring different fields that you emphasize liberal art. It's quite integrated. It's quite kind of holistic education system, which we need now. Not only knowledge, not only independent thinking, but compassion spirit must be harvested. This is important. And that would be, learning by doing, not only in theory. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I would like to share was like when I studied education, I still remember I encountered Professor Cranton, and education was classified into 3 different categories, you may say that. The first one, we call it instrumental learning, and basically learning about skills, right? So everybody knows about it. And the second one is the communicative learning. That should say you have got to learn about humans. You got to understand humans' behavior, humans' values, and so on. The last one, which is the most important one, is what we call emancipatory. That is to say, liberal. Well, what do you mean? What I mean by liberal, though, it means you have to examine your assumption all the time. To respond to your question, you say, how can we really apply what we learn into the real world? Well, I was an industrial engineer. I echo Chris' story very much. I never applied what I learned as an industrial engineer into a manufacturing plant. I applied in credit card industry. Okay, this is what we call knowledge transfer. Well, the reason why is because, just like what both professors mentioned, I don't look at it as a technology or as just a knowledge. I look at it as a philosophy, as a principle, then you can apply it more effectively. And more importantly, you can transform yourself. If you have a critical thinking mind, you examine your assumption all the time. So, of course, I have to wrap up because I hear the sound. So, Chris, would you like to summarize it a little bit about what you would like to say?
Sure. Just very briefly, again, I would just want to build a little bit on the importance of time when it comes into transformation. Berkeley did not transform itself into a place where innovation was really focused into startups, into entrepreneurship, into the social mission overnight. It really has been a very deliberate 25-year process. I think as human beings, we're often impatient, and that's a good thing. That helps push us to make change. It helps push us to innovate. But again, in reality, and this goes in part to my answer to Brian's question, really making transformations in society, whether using technology or anything else, requires that kind of long-term commitment, that kind of long-term vision. And this is one of the things I admire a lot about the Tzu Chi Foundation as well. They have this 60-year history. They have this long-term commitment and dedication to change over time. And I think that's what's really needed when we look at transformation through technology and other means.
Yeah, I mean, we are too much emphasis on technical capital or knowledge capital, but less on cultural and spiritual capital. But I have seen so many successful persons which not only emphasize on technical capital or economic capital, but enhance their spiritual capital so that they can reach the very highest success in their own field. I have friends right here, like Peter, my good friend. He, in his field, is top. But if you look at why he success, not because of he got a good business model, because he's a good person. Good person doesn't matter. Good person has an advantage, competitive advantage, quite sort of. So we are too much emphasis on the model, technical capital, but not spiritual capital. So this is what we have to advocate, not only in technology, but overall goodness for all human spirit.
Well, thanks very much for the two heavyweight speaker next to me. Yeah, I feel it's great pleasure that I can be a facilitator for this section. So, time for high tea. Well, why don't we give a big